प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की जय।
जय
वृंदावन धाम की जय।
जय
नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय।
जय
गंगा माई की जय।
जय
यमुना माई की जय।
जय
तुलसी देवी की जय।
जय
भक्ति देवी की जय।
जय
श्रमवेता भक्त वृंद की जय।
जय
गौर प्रेम आनंदे।
हरि हरि
Hari
बोल।
Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're continuing our study, reading, study, and discussion of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 17, the Lord's pastimes in his youth. Hare Krishna. Text number 270. Mother Chattopadhyay, are you there?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Would you please chant the Bengali, please?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. তুমি তো ঈশ্বর বট সাক্ষাৎ নারায়ণ, কৃপা করি করো মোর সংসার মোচন।
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Sir, you are directly Narayan. Therefore, please be merciful unto me. Deliver me from this material bondage. You know who's speaking to whom here? Anybody recall?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No. He is speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to, is it Keshav Bharati?
Which way is it going? Who's speaking to whom in this case?
Keshav Bharati would be speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Good guess, but no, it's the other way around. It's Lord Chaitanya speaking to Kesava Bharati. Yeah. Bharati Kohena, Tumi Ishwarantaryami, Bharati Kohema. Well, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Next verse. Wait, let's check that up. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see, up a little bit.
So
Yes, it doesn't say here. It's just Lord offered him respectful obeisances, invited to his house. He submitted to him this petition. Yeah. So this is Lord Chaitanya speaking. Yeah. Lord Chaitanya speaking here. Sir, he's speaking about Kesava Bharati. You are directly Narayan. Therefore, please be merciful to me and deliver me from this material bondage. How is he going to deliver him from material bondage?
isn't he asking him for sannyas initiation?
Yes. Okay, so then we hear Kesava Bharati's reply. Next verse.
ভারতী কহেন তুমি ঈশ্বর অন্তর্যামী, যে করাহ সে করিব, স্বতন্ত্র নহি আমি।
Keshava Bharati replied to the Lord, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul. I must do whatever you cause me to do. I am not independent of you."
এত বলি ভারতী গোসাই কাটোয়াতে গেল, মহাপ্রভু তাহা যাই সন্ন্যাস করিলা।
After saying this, Keshava Bharati, the spiritual master, went back to his village, Katwa. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there and accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas. Purport. At the end of his 24th year, at the end of the fortnight of the waxing moon, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Navadip and crossed the river Ganges at a place known as Nidiyar Ghat. He then reached Kantakadagara, or Katwa, where he accepted Ekadanda Sannyas according to the Shankarite system. Since Keshava Bharati belonged to the Shankarite sect, he could not initiate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into the Vaishnav Sannyas order, whose members carry the Tridanda. Chandrasekhar Acharya assisted in the routine ceremonial work of the Lord's acceptance of sannyas, and by the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kirtan was performed for the entire day, and at the end of the day, the Lord shaved off his hair. On the next day, he became a regular sannyasi with one rod, Ekadanda, and from that day on, his name was Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Before that, he was known as Nimai Pandit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the sannyas order traveled all over Radha Desh, the region where the Ganges River cannot be seen. Keshav Bharati accompanied him for some distance. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Shapandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before speaking, I need to ask permission and blessings from all the devotees, but particularly those who are senior by age and or advancement in Krishna consciousness. Please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Keshava Bharati Maharaj was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas guru here, the being described in this Caitanya Charitamrita. The descriptions are very general because the elaborate descriptions of Lord Chaitanya's accepting the sannyas order is there already given by Vrindavan Das Thakur in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. We'll read a little bit from the Chaitanya Bhagavat about that, but just a couple of comments beforehand. One is that this Lord Chaitanya's accepting sannyas was at the end of his 24th year, so it was right before, it was before Gaur Purnima. We changed this for some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, at the end of the 24th year. So at the end of the month of Magh, he did that. And it's interesting to note that although his own initiating spiritual master was Ishwar Puri, who was also a sannyasi when he was still on the planet at the time, he chose to engage Keshava Bharati in the service of giving him the sannyas order, even though he was coming from a Shankarite background. And later, we see, or actually it's earlier, we saw that there were different roots of the Caitanya tree, and one of those prominent roots was Keshava Bharati. So, if you remember, the Lord had his reasons, Lord Chaitanya had his reasons for accepting sannyas, but there was an external trigger for him to decide why he should take sannyas. If anybody remembers what that was.
The students and people in general were not giving proper respect and listening to his instructions.
Yes, yes. That's Prananath Prabhu. Thank you. So in devotional ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya was chanting the name Gopi, and some of the students, they criticized him, saying, "What pious credit will you get from chanting the name of the gopis or Gopi? And better to chant Krishna's name." At which point, Lord Chaitanya, he became angry, and he chased that student with a stick. It doesn't say he caught the student, but he chased the student. And later, that student ran to an assembly of other students, and they conspired to retaliate against Lord Chaitanya. They were Brahmins, they were puffed up, proud Brahmins, and so they thought they would get, teach him a lesson. Even though Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So some of those students, at least some of them, were his own students. So this is very interesting. Even someone who's being taught and having the personal association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can become rebellious. Isn't that interesting? And well, there's a story from the Panchatantra. You've probably heard the story. It's about again become a mouse. Have you heard this one? I'm sure. This is a tendency in the material world that when somebody becomes, a little bit advanced, either in wealth or in knowledge or in strength, then they try to take over the source of their strength or knowledge. In this case, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the story goes that there was a yogi and he was meditating, and a mouse comes being chased by a cat. So the mouse beseeches the yogi, "Please help me, please help me. I might be devoured by the cat." So the yogi says, "So what do you want?" So the mouse said, What did the mouse say?
Make me a cat.
Yes. Then it went on so the yogi, by his mystic power, was able to do that. Boom, be a cat. Tatastu, yeah. Then the cat was in trouble, being chased by another animal, dog. And so then he approached the yogi again, said, "Please help me. Would you make me a dog?" Boom. Then the dog was being chased by a tiger, was it? A tiger? So then the tiger, the dog being chased by the tiger, also asked the yogi, "Please help me. Please help me. So what would you like?" "Become a tiger." So the dog, which was originally a mouse, became a tiger. As a tiger, the tiger was looking at the yogi with desirous eyes, thinking, "Oh, this would make a good meal for me." Seeing that, the yogi, very perceptive, could understand the intentions of the mouse turned tiger, and he turned the tiger back into a mouse. So this is one pitfall we have in the material world, that people, they take instructions, they benefit from the instructions of superiors, and if they make a little advancement, then they want to take over, kill those that they have taken shelter of instruction from. So we have to guard against that point. This was even in the pastimes of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This took place. It's kind of shocking. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's own students did this. What to speak of others in this material world? This happens very often. So I thought we'd read a little bit about this from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, if you don't mind. What do you think?
Yes,
Objection?
Prabhuji.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So this is right after the students were conspiring to attack Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then one day, Mahaprabhu was sitting in the midst of his associates, and suddenly he spoke something strange, which no one else could understand. They were struck with wonder. This is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. I made the medicine Pipalikanda to clear excess mucus. But instead of clearing the mucus in the body, it created more. It's very interesting, right? There's a purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Lord Chaitanya, quoting Lord Chaitanya, I made an attempt to preach to the suffering living entities of this world a truth that has never before been revealed. But rather than accepting this, they took the heavy burden of offense on their heads. I wanted to preach for the eternal benefit of the residents of Nadia, but they have not understood my intention and seem to have become bewildered. So they are opposing the preaching of pure devotional service. The Vedic literature prescribes the medicine Pipalikanda to cure a person who is afflicted by excessive mucus. But rather than curing the disease, this medicine has simply increased the mucus. The materialistic people of this world worship imaginary gods to increase their sense gratification. They do not perform any activities for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, but simply remain busy gratifying their own senses. They consider sense gratification as the goal of life and do not inquire about the rarely attained loving devotional service of Krishna. So what happens when sense gratification is checked? What's usually the step? What happens for materialistic people? Jayato vishayam pumsam sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha bijayate. Yeah, anger. So that's what's the materialistic people became angry at Lord Chaitanya for giving good instruction. After saying this, the Lord of all laughed loudly. The devotees could not understand why he was laughing and became anxious. But Nityananda Prabhu understood the Lord's plan. He understood the Lord will soon leave home. How could he understand this? From that statement about Pipalikanda, he understood that the Lord's going to leave home. How's that? Any guesses or any idea?
Because he is the supreme also.
Yes. Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And Lord Nityananda became absorbed in lamentation as he realized that the Lord would certainly take sannyas. Thinking that the Lord would shave off his beautiful hair, Nityananda became agitated with distress. After a while, Lord Gauranga took Nityananda by the hand and sat down in a solitary place. The Lord said, listen, Nityananda Prabhu, let me confidentially reveal my heart to you. I came to deliver the living entities of this world. I could not deliver them, and it appears that I came to destroy them. They were supposed to be freed from material bondage by seeing me, but whereas they were previously bound by one rope, now they are bound by millions because of the offenses they're creating. As soon as they decided to beat me, they were immediately entangled in unlimited bondage. So apparently, part of the discussion of the Brahmin that Lord Chaitanya chastised and his other associate students, they had a plan. They were going to beat Lord Chaitanya. I incarnated to deliver the people of the world, but it appears that I am destroying them. Soon, you will see me shave my head and give up my Brahmin thread. I will wander about begging as a sannyasi. I will soon become a beggar at the door of those who have decided to beat me. Then they will fall at my feet when they see me, and in this way, I will deliver the entire world. Everyone offers obeisances to a sannyasi. No one dares to beat one. As a sannyasi, I will soon wander from door to door begging, and let me see then who beats me. I have thus revealed my heart to you. I will certainly give up household life. Do not feel distressed because of this, but give me your permission to take sannyas. I will do whatever you want, but you know the purpose of my incarnation. If you want the world delivered, I hope you will not forbid me from taking sannyas. So this is Lord Chaitanya speaking with Lord Nityananda about his accepting sannyas. This is a little bit before this verse we read here in the about his meeting Kesava Bharati. Then Lord Chaitanya then left and he went to Katwa, which is a little bit northwest of Navadvip, which is described in this verse. Let's just read a little bit from the his actual taking of sannyas. So Lord Chaitanya, as mentioned in this purport, what was he doing on the day he was taking sannyas? It was scheduled to take sannyas. What was going on? Any guesses about that?
Completely shaving his head, Prabhuji.
Yeah, but what was going on with all the devotees there? They were doing
They're all
Sankirtan.
praying.
Sankirtan was going on all day. Sankirtan was going on. That's Lord Chaitanya's main business, right? So the Sankirtan was going on all day. So after then, with great ecstasy. So after some time, Sri Vishvambar controlled himself and sat down, surrounded by his associates. Kesava Bharati was absorbed in an ocean of bliss on seeing the devotional sentiments displayed by the Lord. He therefore offered his prayers to the Lord. The devotion I have seen today with my eyes is not found in anyone other than the Lord himself. This is Kesava Bharati addressing Lord Chaitanya. I have clearly understood that you are the spiritual master of the entire world. Therefore, no one is qualified to become your guru. Yet, I think to teach people in general, you will accept me as your guru. Purport. Kesava Bharati said to Mahaprabhu, I can understand that you are honoring the process of accepting a guru to teach people. In reply to this, Mahaprabhu said, please do not deceive me by your illusory words. Take away the reactions of my pious and impious activities by awarding me the transcendental knowledge so that I may become a servant of Krishna. So that was the purport. But the Lord said, please do not deceive me. Give me initiation so that I may become a servant of Lord Krishna. Speaking in this way, the Lord passed the night with everyone engaged in the happiness of Krishna Katha. Early the next morning, the Lord of all the planets rose and instructed Chandrasekhar. This Chandrasekhar is his maternal uncle. It's a different Chandrasekhar that's in Benares later. This is a Brahmin. He's asking Chandrasekhar, whose house was just right by the Yoga Pit in Mayapur. You are qualified in the performance of all Vedic rituals, therefore I appoint you my representative. On the order of the Lord Chandrasekharacharya, okay, here it is. On the order of the Lord Chandrasekharacharya began to perform the required Vedic rituals. Sri Gaurachandra appointed Chandrasekharacharya as his representative and ordered him to perform the formalities of the sannyas ceremony. Mahaprabhu did not personally perform any of the activities required to be performed by sannyasis. The variety of ingredients that people from the surrounding village brought cannot be described. They brought milk, yogurt, butter, moong dal, betel, sandalwood, flowers, sacred threads, and cloth. No one knew where the varieties of eatables that poured in came from or who brought them. Everyone who came chanted the holy names in ecstasy. Indeed, the chanting of Hari Hari was the only sound that could be heard. Then, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the life of all, sat down to have his head shaved, including his shika. Report here. To gain knowledge, one requires to undergo the chaura sanskar, or the purificatory process of shaving the head, before a fire sacrifice. Unless one keeps the shikha, one is not awarded the qualification to study kalpa, vyakarana, nirukta, chanda, Vedic literatures like astrology or literatures, in pursuance of the Vedas. When the desire to gain knowledge for the purpose of material enjoyment is destroyed, there is an arrangement for giving up the shikha. According to worldly consideration, giving up the shikha is the symptom of renouncing formal obligations. But for the service of the Supreme Lord, the Tridandi devotees of the Lord do not give up the shikha and Brahmin thread under the influence of material conceptions. Rather, they can remain situated in the principles of Paramahamsa in spite of keeping the shikha and Brahmin thread by considering them as related to Hari. Since the performance of fruitive activities was prominent in North India during the time of Sri Gaurachandra, Sri Gaurachandra gave up his shikha and Brahmin thread according to the prescriptions of Ekadanda sannyas. But his servants accepted the dress of Paramahamsas and followed the principles of Tridandi sannyas by keeping the shikha and Brahmin thread. Interesting point that according to the time, place, and circumstance, some of the rituals here are adjusted. Do you follow? Even though the shikha and Brahmin thread for Tridandi sannyasis are usually retained, but because of the situation in North India and Bengal at the time, Lord Caitanya had the shikha and Brahmin thread. He gave up the shikha and Brahmin thread at the time of his sannyas. Then, when the barber came to shave the Lord, a tumultuous sound of weeping arose. The barber hesitated to shave the Lord's curly hair. Before he even touched the hair, he began to cry. The devotees headed by Nityananda all started weeping and rolling on the ground. What to speak of the devotees? Even the people in general all began to cry in lamentation. One woman said, "Who has invented the system of sannyas?" Speaking like this, all the ladies all sighed deeply. Hidden from view, all the demigods also cried. In this way, the entire universe was filled with the sound of crying. Such compassion was shown by Sri Gaurachandra that even dry wood and stone melted. So we sing the prayer Pashu Paki Juri Pashane Bidare. This is here maybe where it's coming from. Even dry wood and stone melt. Even stone melts in that prayer. This pastime of the Lord was displayed for the deliverance of the living entities and everyone's weeping was evidence of this. Sri Gaurachandra was greatly agitated by the mellows of ecstatic love. He constantly shed tears, and his body trembled. Vishvambar got up and exclaimed, "Chant, chant!" And as Mukunda began to sing, the Lord continuously danced. Even when the Lord sat, he was unable to remain steady. He trembled, and tears flowed from his eyes out of ecstatic love. In this way, the Lord constantly roared, "Hari Bol." The barber was therefore unable to perform his task. Somehow or other, in the mellows of ecstatic love, the Lord's head was finally shaved by the end of the day. So it was a whole day program here, mostly kirtan, and finally the shaving of the head. The hands of the barber did not move as he prepared to shave the beautiful hair and shika of Sri Gaurasundar. The entire day passed as various thoughts delayed the act of shaving. Eventually, the act of shaving required for a sannyasi was completed. Thereafter, the Lord of all took his bath in the Ganges and sat for his sannyas ceremony. The Vedas declare that Sri Gaurachandra is the spiritual master of everyone. The Lord, on some pretext, then spoke something to Keshava Bharati. The Lord said, "In a dream, some Mahajan appeared to me and spoke some sannyas mantra in my ear. Please examine whether it is appropriate or not." Speaking in this way, the Lord spoke the mantra into Keshava Bharati's ear. Thus, the Lord, by trickery, made Keshava Bharati his disciple, and Keshava Bharati was struck with great wonder. Commentary. Lord Sri Gaurasundar is the covered fountainhead of all incarnations. He does not reveal himself to ordinary people. He first initiated Keshava Bharati with the sannyas mantra, and then to teach people, he accepted the same mantra from him as a disciple. Keshava Bharati said, "Oh, this is the best of all mantras. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, what is unknown to you?" According to the instructions of the Lord, the broad-minded Keshava Bharati then spoke that very mantra into the ear of the Lord. The auspicious sound of the holy names was heard in the four directions as the jewel of Vaikuntha accepted the order of sannyas. When the Lord put on the enchanting saffron dress, he appeared as beautiful as millions of cupids. His beautiful body and head were decorated with sandalwood pulp and flower garlands. Holding his danda and kamandalu in his hands, the Lord was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. The beautiful face of the Lord was more attractive than millions of moons. And his two eyes were filled with tears of love. That wonderful sannyas form of the Lord will be elaborately described by Vedvyas. That's in the Vishnu Sahasranam, we'll see. Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangas Changanagati Sannyasakrit Chamashanto Nishta Shanti Parayana. Sri Vedavyas has described in his Vishnu Sahasranam that the Lord appears in one of his incarnations as a sannyasi. Now this statement has been fulfilled by the best of the Brahmanas. This secret is well known to the society of Vaishnavas. Purport. In the Mahabharata, Dana Dharma, Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra, it is stated, Sannyasa Krich Chamashanto Nishta Shanti Parayana. Lord Vishnu, that Lord Vishnu, accepts sannyas, is detached from sense gratification, is fully surrendered to Krishna, is fully determined to engage in the sacrifice of chanting the holy name of Krishna, and is fully absorbed in Mahabhava, which ridicules the peaceful state attained by non-devotee impersonalists. The names of the Lord mentioned in this regard in the Vishnu Sahasranam are Sannyasa Krich, he who takes sannyas, Shama Shanta, he who is detached from material enjoyment, and Bhagavan Nishta, he who is attached to the Supreme Lord. Sri Gaurachandra fulfilled the meaning of these names. The magnanimous Keshava Bharati then began to think of a name to give the Lord. I cannot find such a Vaishnav in the 14 worlds. This is my conviction. Therefore, I will give a name that is not found anywhere. Then my desire will be fulfilled. Although the disciple of Bharati should be named Bharati, that name is not appropriate for him. As that fortunate topmost sannyasi was thinking like this, Shuddha Saraswati, the transcendental goddess of learning, appeared on his tongue. The titles used by each dress of a person within a sampradaya community are accepted along with the person's name in that sampradaya. But in this case, Sri Gaurachandra did not accept the title of Bharati from Keshava Bharati. By the influence of pure devotional service, the goddess of transcendental knowledge appeared on the tongue of Bharati during Mahaprabhu's name-giving ceremony. Selecting the suitable name, the pure-hearted Keshava Bharati placed his hand on the chest of the Lord and spoke. The goddess of material knowledge is known as Dushta Saraswati. When statements that inspire service to the Lord are spoken, the goddess of learning remains engaged in the service of the Lord. So that is Shuddha Saraswati. You have induced the people of the world to chant the name of Krishna, and by inaugurating the movement of Sankirtan, you have awakened people's consciousness. Since the Lord made the arrangement for chanting the names of Krishna while introducing the materially intoxicated people of the world to Krishna, Keshava Bharati awarded him the name Sri Krishna Caitanya. The consciousness, Chaitanya means consciousness, the consciousness of people throughout the entire world of sense gratification was awakened. Previously, they had been indifferent to the Supreme Lord. Sri Krishna Chaitanya personally awarded all living entities the qualification to hear the fact that Sri Krishna himself is Sri Chaitanya. So, whoever you meet, according to this purport here, they are qualified. Lord Chaitanya made them qualified to understand, even though they may be materialistically involved. Therefore, your name will be Sri Krishna Chaitanya, because of you, everyone will become fortunate. When the best of the sannyasis spoke this, everyone chanted Jai, Jai, and flowers were showered upon them. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments about Lord Chaitanya's accepting sannyas here in Katwa, under the arrangement of his own arrangement, but facilitated by Keshava Bharati. Questions, comments? Observations, reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, is there anywhere given the mantra he spoke in the year of Keshava Bharati?
Yes, it's there in the 11th canto. It's specially meant for sannyasis. It's a prayer by the Avanti Brahmin. Yeah. It's not mentioned here in this verse or this place, but up to the time we've read previously, that up to the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, additional commentary on why Lord Chaitanya, through the arrangement of Shuddha Saraswati and Keshava Bharati, accepted the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Up till Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it wasn't described, but he revealed that also another reason is because Chaitanya is a name of a brahmachari servant of the sannyasi. And Lord Chaitanya wanted to emphasize, contrary to the principle that we were talking about previously, that the student becomes greater than the master, than the teacher, and tries to kill or overcome the teacher, but that even in sannyas ashram, the sannyasi remains a servant of the spiritual preceptor. Another important point there. Another point mentioned here in the purport was that apparently there's a Shuddha Saraswati and a Dushta Saraswati. Yeah, that there are two. There's a pure Saraswati, transcendental, who helps us engage in devotional service, and one who's also involved in material knowledge. So if we sometimes people chant that for Narayanam Namaskritam. No, yeah, Narayanam Naram Chayavinotam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadire. So that Saraswati is the Shuddha Saraswati, not the Dushta Saraswati. Interesting point also that in the Brahma Samhita, there's a discussion of, desire trees. What do you call it? Kalpavriksha? Kalpavriksha. So apparently, according to the purport written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there's desire trees in the material world that are meant for fulfilling material desires. But the desire trees that are there in Goloka are meant to fulfill the desires of the devotees only to serve Krishna, nothing else. So there's transcendental kalpavrikshas and materially oriented kalpavrikshas, like Shuddha Saraswati and Dushta Saraswati. Interesting. Other comments? Lord Chaitanya taking sannyas.
So, Prabhuji, Keshav Bharati didn't give him any mantra, sannyas mantra.
Excuse me?
Keshav Bharati didn't give Mahaprabhu any sannyas mantra.
Yes, he did, but he received the mantra first from Lord Chaitanya.
The same mantra.
That same mantra that he gave to Lord Chaitanya. So it was recycled round and round. He heard it from Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All mantras coming from him anyway. So Keshava Bharati, recognizing his position, he could have said, wait, I'm the guru here. No, but he didn't do that. He recognized that he was doing this as a service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that way he became glorious.
Thank you.
Sure.
Just one more thing, Prabhuji.
Yes.
In this purports, we read about the reference to Vishnu Sahasranama. So since Caitanya Charitamrita is, the Lord's appearance day is nearing, we can also use this as a reference to distribute Caitanya Charitamrita, especially for people who are very familiar with the Vishnu Sahasranama but not aware of Lord Chaitanya.
Oh, good point. In terms of distributing, this was particularly among those who are aware of the Vedic culture, sure. And, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his students were challenging or skeptical about the divinity of Lord Chaitanya, they said, well, the Vedas say that there's incarnations only in 3 yuga avatar. No incarnation in Kali Yuga to distribute, the Yuga Dharma. So Gopinath Acharya, he said, you don't know anything. He was his brother-in-law, so he could be a little bit challenging. Bhagavata Bharata Dvishastra Pradhan. These two literatures, Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, are the Shastra Pradhan, the basis of all the Shastras. They give you the essence of the Shastras. And then he quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishna, and then he quoted from Mahabharata, Suvarna Varna Hemang Go, Varangas Chandana Sanyasi Krich. So he quoted these two verses. So very, very famous verses. But in spite of that, Sarvabhauma at that time disregarded it. He said, nah, we're just talking, forget it. Later he understood, but not at that time. Thank you.
I was reading this Vishnu Sahasranama all this time. I didn't know this much meaning behind this, Prabhu.
Yeah, they're very, very much meaning.
Yeah. So all these sannyasa shanto. So can you just say it again, please? What is it?
Suvarna Varna Hemango. That means he's like a
Varanga
golden.
Chandanga.
Yeah. His Varanga is beautiful. Bara means big or beautiful.
Chandanangati.
Angas form. Changanagati.
Chandanangati.
He's decorated with sandalwood pulp. Sannyasa Krich. He's taking sannyas. Samashanto. He's free from material desire. Nishta Shanti Parayana. And he's fixed in transcendental service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's Lord Chaitanya described so nicely.
Yeah, that's
Vishnu
beautiful.
Sahasranam. And these secrets or confidential understandings are sometimes lost or sometimes revealed by great devotees and acharyas. And sometimes they're not understood, but at a certain point, either Lord Chaitanya and his followers, they illuminate some of those understandings for us. Okay, back to the Caitanya
Thank you very
Caritamrita.
much.
সঙ্গে নিত্যানন্দ চন্দ্রশেখর আচার্য মুকুন্দ দত্ত এই তিন কইল সর্বকার্য।
When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, three personalities were with him to perform all the necessary activities. They were Nityananda Prabhu, Chandrasekhar Acharya, and Mukunda Datta. So, of course, we heard there were many other persons. There was the barber, there was other, but these were Lord Chaitanya's personal associates were there. There was ladies who were talking.
এই আদি লীলার কইল সূত্র গণন বিস্তারি বর্ণিল ইহা দাস বৃন্দাবন।
Thus, I have summarized the incidents of the Adi Lila. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has described them elaborately in his Chaitanya Bhagavat.
যশোদানন্দন হইলা সচির নন্দন চতুর্বিদ ভক্তভাব করে আস্বাদন।
See that word ashvadan, tasting, ashvadan. It's prominent in the prasadam prayer, ashvadan. Yeah. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead who appeared as the son of Mother Jashoda has now appeared as the son of Mother Shachi, relishing four kinds of devotional activities. Purport: servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the basis of the four kinds of devotional activities. In Shanta, the marginal stage of devotional service, there is no activity. But above the Shanta humor are servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love, which represent the gradual growth of devotional service to higher and higher platforms. So Shanta here isn't being included in the four devotional activities because it's an appreciation of the wonder and the glory of the Supreme Lord, but no active engagement in practical servitude, either as a servant, as a friend, a parent, or as a lover. Text 276.
সমাধুর্য রাধা প্রেম রস আস্বাদিতে রাধা ভাবঙ্গি করিয়াছে ভালো মতে।
To taste the mellows of Srimati Radharani's loving affairs in her relationship with Krishna, and to understand the reservoir of pleasure in Krishna himself, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the mood of Radharani. So that's a little tricky, that word, that sentence. to taste the mellows of Srimati Radharani's loving affairs in her relationship with Krishna, and to understand the reservoir of pleasure in Krishna himself, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the mood of Radharani. Okay. In this connection, purport, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, Sri Gaur Sundar is Krishna himself with the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never gave up the attitude of the gopis. He remains everlastingly predominated by Krishna and never accepted the part of the predominator by imitating conjugal love with an ordinary woman, as Sahajiyas generally do. He never placed himself in the position of a debauchee. Lusty materialists, like the members of the Sahajiya Sampradaya, hanker after women, even others' wives. But when they try to ascribe the responsibilities for their lusty activities to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they become offenders to Swarup Damodar and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Kanda, chapter 15, it is said, Shobe pora strida prati nahi parihash, Sri dheki dure prabhu hoyene eka pash. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never even joked with others' wives. As soon as he saw a woman coming, he would immediately give her ample room to pass without talking. He was extremely strict regarding the association of women. The Sahajiyas, however, pose as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although they indulge in lusty affairs with women. In his youth, Lord Chaitanya was very humorous with everyone. Oh, did you know that? Lord Chaitanya was humorous. Okay. The best humorous. But he never joked with any woman, nor in the incarnation did he talk about women. The Gauranga Nagari party is not approved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vrindavan Das Thakur. Even though one may offer all kinds of prayers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one should strictly avoid worshipping him as Gauranga Nagara. The personal behavior of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the verses written by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur have completely repudiated the lusty desires of the Gauranga Nagaris. So this is important. Gauranga Nagari, there's 13 prominent Sahajiya sects, supposedly traced to the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but actually all of them have perverted that teaching in one way or another. Aul, Baal, Chatagoshai, and among them is the Gauranga Nagaris. They essentially believe that one can worship Lord Chaitanya as the gopis of Vrindavan worship Krishna. You follow? Although Lord Chaitanya himself was appearing in the mood and color of Srimati Radharani, the topmost gopi. So it's very interesting in the book Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava by Bhakti Vikas Swami. He does a summary of the philosophy of each of the prominent Sahajiya sects, pointing out the deviation from Lord Chaitanya's pristine teaching. We know in the prayers by Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Brajendra Nandana J Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. That same Brajendra Nandan, Krishna, has appeared as the son of Mother Sachi, and Lord Balaram has appeared as Nitai. Then, if you Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoibe Akuti, Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoibe Akuti, Jugalabhiriti. We cannot understand the activities and pastimes and philosophy of Radha Krishna without following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. He says that. So one has to be very careful. Let me read from that book about the Gauranga Nagaris. We have time, or is it too late?
We have at least 10 more minutes.
You think? Okay, we can cover it in 10 minutes. Yeah. So this is about the chapter Deviant Vaishnava groups. Unlike other Apasampradayas, Gauranga Nagaris, also known as Nadia Nagaris or Gaura Nagaris, identify themselves solely as Vaishnava adherents of Gaur, free from degraded tantric or other influences. Most of them strictly abstained from flesh and fish and wore Vaishnav tilak and tulsi neck beads, and many were reputed to be expert kirtan performers. But they were rejected by bona fide devotees for the offense of portraying Gauranga as the Nagara of the young women of Nadia, the enjoyer, Nagara, thus disturbing his role in taking the position of Srimati Radharani to taste the sweetness of Krishna. In the transcendental amour of Sri Radha Krishna, Sri Krishna is Nagara, the predominating hero and enjoyer, and Sri Radha and her expansions, the Sakhis, are Nagaris, the predominated heroines to be enjoyed. Although Sri Gaura is Krishna himself, he adopts the bhava of the Nagari, Srimati Radharani, to experience the nature of her love for Krishna. Therefore, Sri Gauranga is not in the bhava of a Nagara. The Gaura Nagaris conceived of Sriman Mahaprabhu as Nagara and themselves as Nagaris. You follow this? Do you follow this? Are you with me? Yeah, say yes if you are. Say yes. All right. Gauranga Nagaris claim to be followers of Vishnupriya Devi, who they purported to be Radha. They asserted that there is no need to worship Radha Krishna, since Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. Worship of him alone is sufficient. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati cited the Gaura Gunadesh Deepika description of Vishnupriya Devi as Bhushakti, who, being an expansion and maidservant of Srimati Radharani, would never attempt to usurp her position. He further pointed out that no recognized discipular descendant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had worshipped Sri Gaura Vishnupriya in Madhur Ras, and that in contrast to Krishna, Lord Chaitanya did not have more than one concurrent wife and never entered into conjugal enjoyment with either. Nonetheless, Gaura Nagaris promulgated seamy myths about Lord Chaitanya's alleged romances with various girlfriends, of whom no mention exists in the standard biographies. In support of their thesis, Gauranga Nagaris would cite the term Gaura Nagara Bhara from the Sri Caitanya Chandramrita. But Sri Saraswati Thakur contended that Gauranga Nagaris took this stanza out of context from a work that presents a conception of Gaur wholly different from their theory of his being the enjoyer of young girls. Contextually, in this verse, the word Nagara combined with Gaura should be understood to mean Krishna, as in the compound name Gaura Krishna, thus indicating that Gaura Krishna, yet in no way undermining Gaura's specialty of having a different bhava. Srila Rupa Goswami, the revealer of Gaura's Manobhishta, had never explained differently than Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, the most confidential of Lord Chaitanya's associates, who was intimately familiar with his inner being and had stated, Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Svarupam. I salute Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna adorned with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Thus, the pretext of declaring Gauranga a Nagara with the intention of converting him into an object of enjoyment from the jiva is the ultimate limit of perverted intelligence and hari vimukhata, indifference to or rejection of and turning away from the Lord. So the description goes on quite a bit. There's a debate that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had with one prominent proponent of the Gauranga Nagara philosophy, and there's some discussion back and forth. If you're interested, you can read that. But Srila Bhakti, the person accepted the version of Rupa and Raghunath and Sarup Damodar Goswami, promulgated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada, and ISKCON as well. So we can see that even these slight deviations from the standard understanding of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya given by the 6 Goswamis can create havoc. That's one reason that Srila Prabhupada was very, very vigilant about not adding anything or subtracting anything, not manufacturing out of creativity, out of to add to the philosophy, as the Gauranga Nagaris have done. So we have to be, we should be careful about that in terms of our devotional service, our chanting of the holy names, kirtans, and giving classes, etc., to safeguard ourselves from displeasing our spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Questions, comments, observations, reflections? No, we're coming to the end of the Adi Lila. There's probably about 10 more verses left. Then we'll be done with Adi Lila, and then we'll go on to the Madhya Lila. It's interesting that this is going on just at the time of around Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Yeah, very nice. Okay, if there's nothing else, I thank you all for listening and being here with us today. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva
Namo Namaha. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.